Thank y'all for being here. If you see my daughter run in and out, she's got R2-D2. She's using her remote control. In any event, I appreciate y'all being here. I want to start out by saying Arkansans are incredibly generous people. We give far beyond, we punch beyond our weight, so to speak, when it comes to giving and philanthropy. I think I remember a study some years ago that had looked at what people in each state give on a per capita basis, and we were number one per capita philanthropy. We are a giving, caring people, and we are people who like to help people in need. Having said that, we also are a people who love, we want things to be orderly and proper, and that's what I believe, and that's a big part of my job, is to enforce the law. When the legislature passes a law and the governor signs it, the bill into law, it's my responsibility to enforce the law. And it's come to my attention that we've got a problem around the state. It's a problem in some places more than others. And the legislature's done a good job over the years working within the law to address the problem. And I think there may be some confusion among some folks as to exactly what the law is now, what's allowed, what's not allowed. And it's my responsibility to step in, and when I think that there's some confusion, it's my responsibility to say, hey, let me help you understand, clarify if there is confusion. There may not be. Some cases there may just be unwillingness to follow the law, and that's a problem in and of itself, which we'll talk about. So let me first, before we get into anything legal, let me just identify the problem here. It's got to wake up. We can put people on the moon, but we cannot design a computer. There we go. Okay, is that the first slide? Okay, so you can see, I'm going to show you a number of pictures here. I know you want me to stand behind the microphone, so I'm going to try to do this. So in all the pictures that I'm going to show, this one? No, there's too many. It's too many. In all the pictures I'm going to show, they are involving roadways, streets. There may be some, there's some highways in here, but intersections that are dangerous, particularly dangerous for humans. Now, this is a roadway you can see where people have been walking a lot. I will tell you that I was told in this particular case, there were people standing here doing whatever they were doing, and they almost got injured because they stepped out into traffic in this particular case to accept some gift or money or something. But you can see where there's been a lot of activity, a little walking right there, up and down that median. Where am I pointing this? Yeah, just give me the next slide. Just stay by it, somebody. Okay, you can see roadway, people have been out there. This is trash, obviously, but the trash is evidence of people. It didn't migrate there in a flood or, in a storm. People left that there. And that's a very skinny area right by the road, and that's an indication that people are standing right by the roadway. Next slide. You can see here, it's by a road. There's a sign where someone has been asking for money or help or whatever. And again, Arkansans are very generous. Arkansans want to help people. That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about a safety issue. Next slide. There's a perfect example. Someone at an intersection, very busy. In fact, this is a state highway. That looks like Cantrell and University. And Cantrell, as you know, is Highway 10. I live really close to Cantrell, and I can tell you it can be a very dangerous place. I'm going to just say it. There's some drag racing that goes on Cantrell right near my house, usually on Sunday nights. That's another problem that I'm talking with my law enforcement folks about. If you wanted to catch those folks, it's not hard. They're on our radar, but I can just tell you it's dangerous. Next slide. Okay, you can see it. That's another individual at the same intersection on another part of the intersection. Now, I will tell you that a lot of these individuals, again, back to the theme of we're a very generous state, a lot of these individuals, they're not here once. In fact, some of these individuals have been seen parking their truck down the street, down the block, and then they walk down, and they do this every single day. This is where they go for their daily job, or whatever you want to call it. And so this is not. This is happening day after day after day. I've had individuals call me and say, there are people right out in the street, right by the street, in my front yard, every single day. Why can't you do something about it? Next slide. You can see, now, what is the most serious problem here? Well, when you have people that close to the road with signs, people are reading the signs, or they're slowing down, or they're stopping in the middle of the road, even when the light's green, and they're passing things out of their car, and they are causing a hazard. There have been numerous stories of close calls where the car in front suddenly stops in the middle of the traffic to present something to somebody. The person walks out in the street. The next person didn't know they were going to stop because they see a green light, and then it's a chain reaction. This is a problem. It's a problem because I'm a citizen and I see it. It's also a problem because people call me and tell me about it, and I quickly tell them we're very well aware of it. Next slide. Okay, he's right in the middle where cars are on both sides. Next slide. That's back up on, looks like on University, corner of University and Cantrell. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, next slide. This is out West Little Rock. So this gentleman is standing on a very small piece of concrete that if a car was on one side, on the side that you see, and on the side that would be off camera, theoretically he could not fit between the mirrors of those two cars. Clearly a safety problem. It's a safety problem for people doing it. It's also a safety problem for people driving. Next slide. Okay, this is more evidence that is going on. Cantrell, next slide. Okay, go back a slide. Okay, so here's what else I tell you. You can't be a first-class city, a first-class community with this kind of stuff going on. Trash everywhere, allowing this, sending a signal that it's okay to do. It's okay to run out in the middle of the road, run out in the middle of the highway. You may aspire to be something. You're never going to be it with this kind of nonsense going on. It's just not going to happen. And you know what? Citizens see it and think, why are we so helpless that we can't keep people from running out in the middle of the road? What is this? What kind of leadership do we have in our cities and counties across the state that we can't fix this? Well, the good news is we can fix it. We've got a law on the books that fixes it. This is illegal. This is a misdemeanor under the Arkansas Code. It wasn't passed last week. We're not in session. This has been on the books for a long time. Then why is it happening? Well, because someone is failing to stop it, to discourage it. And I've been told that some people aren't sure there is something on the books. This is a clarifying moment today. That's why I wanted to do this. This is the sort of thing that is the responsibility of cities and counties and communities, not the Attorney General's office, but I will be a backstop. If this is not fixed, I'm going to take action myself. I live in neighborhoods just like y'all do, and I'm as offended by it as you are. I mean, I got a call the other day from a woman. She wasn't blaming me, but I told her, I said, she's watching right now because I sent her the link. I said, stay tuned. This is completely unacceptable for a civilized society to allow this nonsense to go on. So, let me help those who may be confused about the state of the law. And I'm glad to see our city board member here, Ms. Wyrick. I'm glad to see Senator Johnson here. Senator Mark Johnson was a real leader on the legislation that we currently have on the books that makes this sort of behavior a misdemeanor. It's a Class C misdemeanor. It's punishable up to 30 days in jail and a $500 fine. Now, let me talk a little bit about the history of the law on this. So, I hear a lot of anecdotes. I don't know what's true or what's not true. I've been told, for example, there's a community here in Arkansas that wanted to do something about this, and they did the right thing. They came to us and said, help us understand the law, tell us what we can do legally, what we can't do legally. So that's what I want to talk about right now. Next slide. Okay. Yeah. So we had a law on the books for a long time that is basically the substances that is up here if you include the stricken language. That was on the books for a long time. And in 2017, a federal judge, and I believe rightly, struck the law and said this is unconstitutional. And that ruling was affirmed by the Eighth Circuit Federal Court of Appeals. And I agree with that because the law, when it included the language that is now stricken, that was a content-based restriction. So basically the old law allowed you to do some of what we showed in the pictures if you said A, but not if you were saying B. So if you got up in some of those and you interrupted traffic or whatever, but you were talking about the Razorbacks, that was okay. But if you were asking for money for the purpose of asking for anything as charity or a gift, it was not okay. That's unconstitutional under the First Amendment. The judge said it, federal judge said it in 2017. He's right. The Eighth Circuit affirmed it. That is content-based. That's a violation of the First Amendment because we're saying this law only prohibits you if you say certain things that we don't want you to say. That, in this country, because we have an amazing First Amendment that other countries wish they had, some of them, that's prohibited. And if we love the law, we don't just love it when it favors us. We have to stand by it. And I love the First Amendment, and I agree. That was not a good way to deal with this problem. Because the problem ultimately is not about what they're saying. Whether they're talking about the hogs, whether they're talking about the dogs, whether they're asking for money. That's not the issue ultimately. Now that may be what drives them there every day when some of them drive up in their truck and get out and go ask for money or whatever. The asking for money may be what gets them to do it. But that's not ultimately the problem. The problem is not the content of their message, whether you like it or not. The problem is the safety issue. This is a public safety issue. Cars are big and cars are heavy. And cars can kill you. And people hanging out in roads where cars go is a bad idea. And if you love motorcycles like I do, it can really harm motorcyclists as well as the people getting in the middle of the street. So, in 2017, when the judge struck it, the law was gone. Unconstitutional. So, enter 2023, if I remember correctly, Senate Bill 271 by my friend here, Senator Johnson. Senator Johnson, I remember, called me. I've known him a long time. I can't remember how long. I had hair then. And it was dark. And he called me and said, hey, the old law, it wasn't what we ought to be doing. We need to do this in a way that is legal under the United States Constitution. We all take an oath, not just to the Arkansas Constitution, we take an oath to the United States Constitution. And I said, hey, I want to work with you on that. My staff wants to work with you on that. My Alex and the intergovernmental folks and legislative team, we want to work with you on this. A, we think we need the law. B, we want it to stand up in court if ever challenged. If you take away the content, so what's the point? The point is this. We have a problem. We have a law to deal with the problem. The problem is easy to understand and easy to identify. The solution is easy to understand and easy to identify. Shouldn't be a discussion. Shouldn't have to have this press conference, right? This ought to be as common sense as speeding. So let's walk through it. Person lingers or remains on a sidewalk, roadway, or public right-of-way in a public parking lot or public transportation vehicle or facility or on private property for the purpose of asking for anything as charity or gift is stricken. You just can't be in those places in a harassing or threatening manner in a way likely to cause alarm under circumstances that create a traffic hazard. As you saw in the pictures that I laid out, every single instance, it's pretty clear there's a potential traffic hazard. If you're as old as I am, you remember Frogger. You remember Frogger, where you're the frog and you have to get across the street without getting clipped, killed, hit? If we allow this, what we're doing is basically affirming Frogger in our streets, and that doesn't end well. It doesn't end well for motor vehicle operators, and it does, particularly motorcyclists, and it doesn't end well for the people who are in the street, for the frogs, so to speak. So we have this law. So where does that leave us? Well, what I want to just say statewide is, if you have this problem, if you're a constituent, you're an Arkansan, and you have this problem, this continues to go on, you need to let your city officials, your county officials know, let the police know. You can certainly let me know. If it's in your community, it's going to be the responsibility of your local law enforcement to deal with this. But you need to let us know, let them know, because it needs to be addressed. Now, what if they know and no one's doing anything about it? Well, if they're doing that, they're ignoring the law. And there are consequences to that. And I want to know that too. Because we have a statewide law enforcement authority, and we're not going to stand idly by and let this flouting of the law go on. It sends all the wrong signals. It says government can't fix problems. Not true. We've already fixed it legislatively. This is not hard. It says they don't respond when we complain. It says what the legislature passes doesn't matter. It says what the governor signs doesn't matter. All these messages that ignoring this sends are bad. They're bad for our society. They're bad for our culture. They're bad for our political system. They're just bad. And so we want to be a resource. If you have any questions, if you're a city attorney and you're not sure, if you're a county attorney, if you're a prosecuting attorney, whatever, if you're a police chief and you have any questions about what we'll be able to defend and what we can't, what the law is and what it isn't, please contact us. Now, I can tell you, I have a great relationship with the prosecuting attorney here, Will Jones. I talked to him about this. I said, hey, if you get these cases, you'll prosecute them, right? I mean, that's what you would do. Absolutely. He believes in FTL just like I do. Follow the law. That's our motto around here. Follow the law. Follow the law. Follow the law. This is not hard. This is not nuance. This is not up for discussion. Follow the law. I said, hey, before I mention him at the press conference, I'm going to call him. So I called him about, 30 minutes ago, and I said, well, I'm going to mention you at the press conference, and I'm going to say that you're ready to roll on these misdemeanors. Is that, oh yeah, absolutely, I'm going to follow the law. So I just mentioned him. So, and I know, I didn't call the other prosecutors around the state, but I know they're ready to do it too because they follow the law. It's what we do, right? So today is more of an informational press conference. But I can tell you that this is a serious problem. Citizens that I hear from, myself included, we've had enough. It's in my neighborhood, and I've had enough as a taxpayer. And I also happen to be the AG. I've had enough as AG. Constituents have had enough. And so the message is, it's against the law. We're here to help people understand the law, and it's going to stop. Or we're going to at least do everything we can to make sure that happens. Any questions? Yes, sir. Let me just say this about Democrat Gazette. Last night, today's paper, there was an article. No one talked a lot about me. And we already mentioned it to your editors. You should call our office. Not your fault. But just, reporters, just give us a chance to get in an article if it's going to talk about me, talk about us. That's just called fair reporting. The last thing we need is our best journalistic enterprises becoming more like the tabloids. I just had to say that. Thank you. Go ahead.
A lot of pictures shown were of Little Rock. Is this problem worse in Little Rock in your estimation, and is it a problem in other municipalities, and which one?
Well, those are near my home. I live in Little Rock. I have not gone to all 75 counties looking to take pictures. I will say Little Rock has a problem with this, a serious problem with this. But I know that it's a problem elsewhere too, because I've talked to people in other counties. I did not ask photographers to drive to those other counties, but certainly it exists in other counties. I have met with the leadership, the city attorney, the police chief. Did the mayor come to that meeting? The mayor, Mark, from another nearby county, not Pulaski County. It's a problem there too. They're taking action on it. Little Rock's a big place. There's a lot more people here. It's at the intersection of 30 and 40. So yeah, it's a problem here, but it's not a Little Rock problem only. It's a problem in different places. I won't say that every community has this problem, because I'm pretty sure that's not the case. But it is not just a Little Rock, Pulaski County problem. I will tell you that my understanding in the people that I met with is the police is citing these people. I was told that some of the leadership in that community has refused to take action on those. We're going to address that and have a conversation about that, and try to encourage them to follow through. Because if the tickets are being given, but the city attorney is not willing to do anything with it, or other people in the chain, then it stops. You know what that does? That encourages more of it. The reason people do it is because they get away with it. The reason people drag up and down the streets because they get away with it. It's a quality of life issue. No world-class city can let this stuff occur. Anything else? Yes.
Would this still apply to people, say, holding up signs and protesting on a sidewalk near a road?
Well, if they're called, we'll read it together. Under circumstances that create a traffic hazard or impediment. So if you're standing, significant, if you block the road, yes. If you're standing in a median, it all applies. It's content neutral. This is a content neutral standard. This is about safety in the road. The fact that you're protesting doesn't allow you to block a road. The fact that you're talking about the Razorbacks doesn't allow you to block the road. It's content neutral. So, for example, I've seen some protests in this county where people were visible, but they weren't anywhere near the road. That's not under circumstances that create a traffic hazard or impediment. So it's not related to protest or not protest. This is content neutral. Yes?
Sorry, quick follow-up. What is considered a traffic hazard as long as they stay off the road itself?
Well, it is, that is a judgment call based on the particular circumstances, no question. There's not a long list of 1,000 specific instances with what's a traffic hazard and what's not. Just like all of the law, you have to use your judgment on what you think is a traffic hazard and what is not. If now some things are clear. If you're 100 feet from a road, you're not a traffic hazard. If you're hanging out into the road, I would say that's a traffic hazard. If you're standing like this with cars going by on a strip about 2 feet, that's probably a traffic hazard. If you're stopping traffic so that you can interact with someone in a car, that's a traffic hazard. So, it's like everything else. It's a judgment call. Thank y'all. Appreciate you.